Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. Today's video is in collaboration with Sara over at Sara's Table. I'll have a link to Sara's video in my description box below, so as soon as you're done watching my video, make sure that you head over to her channel, show her some love, and let her know that I sent you. Sara's really sweet. She's a wife, she's a working mama. She does what's for dinner videos and other recipe videos. I've actually tried a few of her recipes and they've all been delicious, so I highly recommend that you all check out her channel and give some of her recipes a try. If you're coming to my channel from Sara's, welcome. Like I said, my name is Megan. I do weekly what's for dinner videos, grocery hauls, and other recipes. I hope that you will take a look around my channel and that you'll consider subscribing. If you're a returning viewer subscriber, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. In today's what's for dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you'd like to get some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching and stay tuned till the end. I hit 5,000 subscribers this week, which I cannot even believe. I'm so incredibly grateful. And as a very, very small way of saying thank you, I'd like to do a small giveaway. So like I said, keep posted. I will announce that at the end of this video. All right, let's get into this week's what's for dinner. For dinner this first night, I'm making carnitas. This recipe came from a lady that I used to go to church with. Her name is Ashli. She shared this recipe with me. I'll have it typed out in the description box below. To get started, I'm going to take this pork butt. As you can see, I got it at a great deal on Kroger. It was originally almost $18 and I got it for $5 something. Now, because it's just my husband and I actually took this, it was about almost 6 pounds, and I cut it in half. And so I'm going to save the other half of the pork butt for a different recipe later this week. But for this recipe, I'm taking the pork shoulder and I'm going to cut it into cubes. Really doesn't matter how large or small you cut the cubes, you just want to cut it up so that it breaks down a little bit better. To my pork, I'm adding the seasonings. Now, Ashli didn't include measurements for the seasonings, just season to your heart's content. I'm adding onion powder, garlic powder, pepper, paprika, and then adobo. Ashli did have a note on her recipe to use the red lid adobo, and she said that you kind of want to go easy with this. It can overpower things pretty quickly. So she said to rub the seasoning into the pork. I forgot, so I just stirred it with a fork. It worked just fine. And then I'm going to add my chicken broth, my orange juice, and that's it. I'm going to place the lid on this, and then you can cook this on low all day or on high for 4 to 5 hours. You just want to make sure that the pork easily shreds. So here's what it looks like when it's done. I then removed the pork, shredded it, and added it back to the crock pot. I'm going to warm up my tortillas. Now, my husband prefers flour tortillas, so I'm going to warm those up for him. I prefer the corn tortillas, so I'm just adding them to a dry skillet, cooking them on each side for a few seconds until they get a little bit brown, and then I'm going to place them in some aluminum foil to keep them nice and warm. I've got my skillet over about medium-high heat. I'm going to add just a little bit of oil, and then I'm going to take the carnitas and just fry them to get just a little bit crispy. You can also lay the carnitas out onto a cookie sheet and pop them under your broiler for a couple minutes. You're, again, just wanting them to get a little bit of a crisp on them. For your tacos, you really can add whatever toppings you like. The first time I ever had tacos, I was like in my early 20s, and a lady that I worked with took me to a taco stand near where we worked. And when she ordered the tacos and brought them to me, I looked at it and I'm like, where's the shredded cheese and the sour cream and the lettuce and tomatoes? I was so confused, but she was like, just trust me. And so I tried them with the onion, cilantro, and lime and fell in love. It's absolutely delicious. I like extra lime. So these are the toppings that I'm using. Ashli also suggested adding some avocado. I didn't have any fresh avocado on hand, but I did have some of those little cups from Sam's Club that are just avocado, so I added those to my husband's carnitas. Ashli also sent me a recipe for like a green salsa. Her husband is from Guatemala, and I believe this is his recipe. Now, I didn't make it this night, but I have made it in the past. It's delicious and it's really easy. So I'll have that typed out in the description box below if you'd like to check that out and give it a try. All right, here are the finished carnitas. And then earlier this day, I'd made a queso dip. I saw this on Julia Pacheco's channel, and I realized I had all the ingredients and it just looked amazing. So I decided to try it. So I made it that day for lunch, but we had plenty of leftovers, so I warmed it up for dinner. So let me show you how I made this real quick. So in this foil pan, I've added some cooked ground beef, a can of Rotel, taco seasoning, some cubed Velveeta, shredded cheese, cream cheese, and then I believe the recipe called for diced green chilies. I didn't have any on hand, but I had some pickled jalapenos, so I chopped those up and added that. I added a little bit of fresh cilantro, and then I had just a little bit of jarred salsa left in my refrigerator that I wanted to use up, so I went ahead and added that. Give everything a stir, and then you're going to place the foil pan into the preheated oven set at 375 degrees. It will bake for about 15 to 20 minutes or until everything's melted. You do want to go in and stir it every 6 or 7 minutes. Once everything's melted, you'll remove it from the oven. Add in your heavy whipping cream. I didn't have any. I did have some half and half though, so I stirred that in. And then you can garnish it with some cilantro, diced red onions, pickled jalapenos, whatever you like. But this was yummy. Such a yummy dip. Here are the plates. So we have the carnitas, and then I warmed up some of the leftover queso dip and had it with some tortilla chips. My husband did have some dip, but it wasn't until a little bit later after dinner. This was our dinner this night. Super delicious. For dinner the next night, I'm making some burgers. Let me show you what I used. So I had this package of Kobe beef hamburger patties that I got on markdown at Kroger several months ago. They've been in my freezer and I needed to use them up. So I'm going to make those, and then I'm using some of this McCormick Grill Mates hamburger seasoning. I have this sliced Colby Jack cheese that needs to be used up. About 3 brioche buns, so I'm going to use those for the burgers. And I was going to make zucchini fries this night, but I just didn't feel like, getting out the flour, egg, breadcrumb, and dealing with all that. So I had these Red Robin onion rings in my freezer, so I just cooked those in my air fryer. And then I have this Sweet Baby Ray's. This is like a copycat Outback Awesome Blossom sauce or whatever they call it. So I just seasoned both sides of the hamburger patties with that McCormick seasoning, some salt and pepper, cooked it in a skillet until it was done to our liking. Here are the finished plates. Well, this is my plate. Actually, my husband ate a little bit later. I like my burgers pretty simple. I just added a little bit of mayonnaise, some ketchup, mustard, and pickles. And then, of course, I have the onion rings and that sauce. And this was dinner this night. For dinner the next night, I tried a new recipe for barbecue ranch chicken tacos. This recipe is from Kat over at Southern Farming Kitchen. I shared how I made these tacos and this cowboy caviar in my recent Super Bowl snacks video. I'll have that video linked in my description box below. I highly recommend you give both of these recipes a try. They're super delicious. Those tacos, they're really budget friendly, really easy, and that salsa is just yummy. So like I said, I recommend you all give both of these recipes a try. I'll have that video in the description box. For dinner the next night, I made smothered burritos. I didn't realize it when I was sitting down and doing this week's meal plan that I had planned on several Mexican type dishes, which isn't a bad thing at all. I totally love Mexican food, but I told my husband, I was like, I must have been craving Mexican food or something, because that's kind of a theme of this week. But when I made carnitas, I knew that we'd have leftover carnita meat, and so I instantly thought of these burritos. We had a restaurant here in town that had a burrito just like this, but they closed down during the dreaded P word, and so I just tried to recreate it the best that I could. So let me show you how I make them. They're really, really easy and super delicious. First, you'll need some kind of rice for your burrito. You can cook up some white rice, brown rice, cilantro lime rice. I have this Spanish rice packet. It's been in my pantry for a while. I need to use it up, so I'm going to cook that up. I have a really yummy Mexican rice recipe that I've shared before on my channel. I have it linked in the description box below if you need a recipe, but it doesn't really matter. You just need some rice. This would also be a great way to use up leftovers as well. I'm going to make some queso dip. You can use your favorite store-bought. That's perfectly fine. I'm going to make it. I have everything on hand. I first saw this over on Love Missy XO's channel. I'll have it linked in the description box below. Here's what you need. It's really easy. You just need white American cheese, diced green chilies. I believe Missy uses heavy whipping cream. I didn't have any, but I did have some half and half on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. I've also made this using regular milk and even almond milk. It all turns out delicious. You can also add some cumin to this, and I add a little bit of salt. So all you do is just basically place this into a saucepan, place it over a low heat, give it a stir, and just cook it on low, stirring it frequently until it's melted. Now I'm ready to assemble the burritos, and quick disclaimer, I am not at all an expert. I don't claim to cook authentic Mexican, Hispanic, Tex-Mex food. I just do the best I can. So I've heated my burrito size tortilla up. I'm going to lay down a bed of refried beans. These are just canned refried beans. I heated them up in the microwave, added a little bit of water. I'm going to add some of that cooked Spanish rice. And then this is the leftover Carnitas meat. I warmed it up in the microwave. I'm going to add my shredded cheese, and then that's it. I'm going to roll that up and then place that into a greased casserole dish. Now, you don't have to bake these. You can just serve them, like this and smother them, but I like to put them in the oven for a few minutes. Next, I'm going to add my salsa verde. I got this at Trader Joe's. I like this brand. It's really yummy. Then I'm going to add some of the queso dip. This is going to go into the preheated oven. I believe I had it set at 375 degrees, and I just baked it for about 15 minutes just to allow the cheese inside the burritos to melt and everything to kind of meld together. These are the burritos once they came out of the oven. And then here are the toppings that I'm going to add. I was kind of going for, how when you go to a Mexican restaurant, normally they have like shredded iceberg lettuce, pico, sour cream, and guacamole on the side. So that's kind of what I was going for this night. I had all the ingredients to make a homemade pico de gallo on hand, so I just whipped that up. It was just diced Roma tomatoes, some salt, lime juice, cilantro, and diced jalapenos. All right, here's the finished plate. So we have the smothered burritos, some of the rice, and the beans. I just use the same rice and beans that I used to put inside the burritos. And then we have our toppings. This was delicious. It's so filling. Those burritos are huge. It's very filling, but this was delicious. So yummy. For dinner the next night, I made some pulled pork sandwiches. I had the other half of that pork butt, and I knew I needed to use it up. I have shared how I make my pulled pork before on my channel. I'll have that video linked in the description box below, but I wanted to share with you all today how I make the barbecue rub and the homemade barbecue sauce. I haven't shared that before. They're both really, really easy. You probably have all the ingredients on hand already. They're really customizable. I like a sweeter barbecue sauce. If you don't, add less sugar. You can add more spice. You can make them the way that you want to make them. And if you have like a special diet, like maybe you're trying to watch your salt or your sugar, again, you can customize that. That's the great thing about making your own rubs or spice mixes or sauces, making them yourself. So let me show you the ingredients first for the barbecue rub. Here are the ingredients that you'll need. I will have this recipe linked in my description box below. A quick note, the recipe does say that it's Bobby Flay's recipe, but I've never verified that, so I don't know if it is his recipe or not, but I've made this for years and we really like it, so I recommend you all give it a try. You'll need cumin, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, brown sugar, salt, cayenne pepper, black pepper, and white pepper. Now, a couple quick notes. Disregard the yellow mustard. I don't know why I set it out for this. I needed it for the barbecue sauce, so disregard that. And to be completely honest with you, this is the first time that I've made this that I've actually used the white pepper. It's not something that I normally have on hand. Normally, I just double up on the black pepper. So again, check the description box for the recipe for the exact measurements. All I'm going to do is add these to a mixing bowl, mix it until it's combined really well, and then I have this little seasoning container. I think this is from like a seasoning that I got at the Dollar Tree, and once I used up that seasoning, I gave it a good wash, allowed it to completely dry, and I'm just reusing it. So I'm going to add a funnel to that and then pour my seasoning mix into that, and then that's it. This can go into the pantry and it'll be ready for me whenever I want to use it. And one final quick note, I did half the recipe, by the way, and as you can see, it did basically like just over a little half of this container. Here is the other half of that pork shoulder. I had cut it into chunks already for the carnitas. Normally, I just cook it whole. Either way is fine. But as you can see, this first crock pot was way too small, so I transferred it to a larger crock pot. I'm seasoning it generously with that homemade barbecue rub. You can use your favorite barbecue rub or whatever seasonings you like. I'm going to give that a stir, and then I'm adding some root beer. This is optional. You don't have to add it. My dad adds it, and I think it adds great flavor. It also gives it some moisture. You can also use Dr. Pepper or Coca-Cola, or just skip the soda altogether. I like to add in a few drops of liquid smoke. Be gentle with this. Go easy. It can get overpowering really quickly. I'm going to place a lid on this, and you can cook it on low all day long or on high for 4 to 5 hours. You just want to cook it until the pork is cooked all the way through and it shreds easily. I'm going to get started on the barbecue sauce. I'll have the recipe linked in the description box below. And again, make this your own. Like I said, I like a sweet barbecue sauce. If you don't, customize it. Use less sugar, add more spice, add more vinegar, whatever you like. So to the saucepan, I'm adding ketchup, apple cider vinegar, minced garlic, Worcestershire sauce, salt, garlic powder, onion powder, mustard powder, a pinch of cayenne pepper, some brown sugar, honey, and molasses. I'm going to whisk that until it's combined really well. Then bring this to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, and allow it to simmer for 20 minutes. After it simmers, I do like to give it a taste and then adjust the seasonings if I feel like it needs it. Add a little bit more sugar, a little more cayenne, whatever you feel like it needs it. Allow this to cool completely, and then you can place this into a mason jar and keep it in the refrigerator. This is really, really yummy. Now, I decided to add just a little sprinkling of the homemade barbecue rub that we just made. That's optional. You don't have to do it. The recipe doesn't call for it, but I had it on hand and I thought it would be yummy. All right, here's that finished barbecue sauce. Here's the finished pork. I removed it from the crock pot and removed most of the liquid. I shredded the pork and then added it back to the crock pot with just a little bit of that liquid. To go along with this, I'm making some greens. I'm not making them homemade. I'm just using this can of seasoned greens, and then I add this to a skillet. Add just a little spoonful of bacon grease if I have it on hand, a little bit of salt and pepper, and I just warm it up slowly. For my second side, I'm making a pimento macaroni and cheese. In this sauce pot, it's over about medium-low heat. I'm going to add in my butter. I'm going to cook that until it's melted, and then I'm going to sprinkle over my flour, whisk that, and cook that for about a minute. I normally use milk, but today I have some half and half on hand and I need to use it up, so I'm going to whisk in the half and half. I'm going to cook that for a few minutes until it starts to get thick, and then I will add in my cream cheese and my shredded cheddar cheese, whisk that and cook that until the cheeses are melted. Now, a quick note here, my kind of like normal macaroni and cheese recipe that I use, I don't even know who to give credit for. I've used that recipe for years and years and years, but I'll have it typed out in the description box below. I doctor it up a little bit for the pimento macaroni and cheese version, so I just add a little bit of cream cheese and some drained pimentos to make it like the pimento macaroni and cheese. But if you leave out the pimentos and or the cream cheese, it's a really good just basic macaroni and cheese recipe. So I'm also adding some salt and pepper, and then give the sauce a taste. See if you need to add a little bit more salt, a little more pepper, a little more cheese. Once it's where I want it to be, I'm going to add in my cooked and drained elbow macaroni, and then I'm going to place this into a greased casserole dish, sprinkle it with a little more shredded cheese. I placed this into a preheated oven set at 350 degrees, and I baked it for about 15 to 20 minutes. You don't have to bake this in the oven. You can absolutely just eat this off the stove. It's a quick and easy stovetop macaroni and cheese recipe. All right, once the pork was done, as I mentioned, I removed it and shredded it. Here's that pork. I'm using some brioche buns, and then we have our homemade barbecue sauce. Here are those greens. I just doctored up the canned version, and then that pimento macaroni and cheese. And next I'll show you our plates. All right, here's the plates. We have the macaroni and cheese, the greens, the pulled pork on those brioche buns with some of that homemade barbecue sauce. Everything was absolutely incredibly delicious. Highly recommend you give all of these a try. For dinner the next night, we ate out. We were in Kentucky visiting my grandfather, So we went to a restaurant in town called the Black Stallion, and they brought out rolls and butter to start with. And then I got their salad bar. I don't know what it is about salad bars at restaurants, but for some odd reason to me, they just taste so much better than salads that you make at home. And I don't know why that is. I mean, it's the same ingredients, but I don't know, it just tastes different to me. And not a lot of places are doing them right now, so I was really happy to see that they had their salad bar. But anyway, so I had a big salad, and then for my entree, I did the steak tips, and it came with sauteed onions and mushrooms. And then I got loaded mashed potatoes for my side. My husband, I didn't show his plate, but he basically had the same thing. He had the salad bar, and then he had the steak tips. The only difference between ours was he had peppers with his steak tips, and then he had a loaded baked potato instead of loaded mashed potatoes, and that was our dinner this night. Finally, we were celebrating my grandfather's 89th birthday, and he requested meatloaf. So I actually mixed up the meatloaf Friday before we left, and then we just baked it off Saturday. I kept it in the cooler on our way up to Kentucky, and then we put it in the mini fridge at the hotel. In addition to the meatloaf, my mom made some shells and cheese, mashed potatoes, mashed sweet potatoes, corn. The corn is just regular canned corn, and then combined with cream style corn. And then we made some stuffing, and then for dessert he requested banana pudding, so my mom made that. She actually made it at the hotel, but it was delicious. I love her banana pudding, it's so yummy. All right, here is my plate, and then of course here are the candles on his banana pudding. This was delicious, so yummy, and it was really nice to just celebrate his birthday with him. And finally, this past week, my channel hit 5,000 subscribers. Thank you so incredibly much. I really and truly appreciate each and every one of you. And as a very, very small way of saying thank you, I will be doing a 5,000 subscriber giveaway. So to participate in the giveaway, first you have to live in the United States. I'm trying to figure out how to do an international giveaway, but for right now, you do have to live in the United States. You do have to be subscribed to my channel, and then leave a comment down below on this particular video. That's it. Just live in the US, be subscribed, and leave a comment down below. The giveaway will close on 2/26/22 at 9 a.m. Central, and then I will randomly select a winner, and I'll announce it in the following What's for Dinner video. So make sure that you keep an eye out for that video, as I will be announcing the winner, and I'll leave my contact information on that video so that the winner can contact me so that I can get you your prize. And what we'll do is a $50 gift card. Whoever wins, you just let me know where you would like the gift card to. If it's something that I can email to you, I'll do that. If it's not, then I'll get it sent to you in the mail, but we'll work all that out. But it will be a $50 gift card to the place of your choice. So good luck, and again, thank you so incredibly much. I really appreciate it. All right, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And don't forget to go over to Sara's channel, show her some love, and let her know that I sent you. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.